Hi, nonfiction readers. So I'm starting to notice that our class is becoming experts. You guys are able to learn a lot of information about the topics you're learning, and you're becoming experts on those topics. And when I've been conferencing with you and listening to all the things that you're learning, you sound like experts. And that's what happens when you read nonfiction. The authors of those books are trying to teach you so that you can become the experts and then teach other people. So that's like a really exciting thing, that all of you in our classroom are becoming an expert on one thing or another. And today, I want to teach you that when readers of nonfiction text become experts, they can teach others what they know. And to teach someone, readers kind of need to know the main ideas and the details in order to be able to explain it to others. And you have to use your explaining voice, as well as sometimes you have to use your fingers and gestures in order to point out some of the important information, like the text features and the photographs, or to kind of show us things with your hands. So today, readers, I want to show you what I mean to kind of teach someone about what you're learning. So I'm going to use a few pages from our book, Frog and Toads. And you can listen while I read this to myself if you want, but I'm going to kind of pretend like you haven't heard this book so that I can be the one that kind of will teach it to you. And because I'm going to teach you about frogs and toads, I am going to have to pay really close attention to these things, because in order to teach you well, I'm going to have to know the main ideas of the text and the supporting details. And I'm going to have to make sure that when my mind is full of information, that I stop and I pause and I think about those key ideas and those main details so that I can share them. I'm going to need to use my explaining voice. I'm going to need to use gestures. And finally, I'm going to have to point out any important information in the text that I might need to show you to help explain what I'm trying to share. So I'm going to go ahead and begin reading the section, What is a Frog? Frogs and toads look similar, but they are different in some ways. A frog has smooth, moist skin. It needs to live close to water. If a frog's skin dries out, the frog will die. Frogs have small teeth on their upper jaw. They do not use their teeth for biting or chewing. They use them for holding prey. Toads do not have teeth. Okay, so it's time for me to teach you everything that I just learned in that section. So that pay attention so that when you have the opportunity to teach somebody what you've learned, you can do a lot of the same things. So today, friends, I want to teach you what I learned about frogs and toads. I'm going to start to explain to you a few things about frogs' bodies. One of the things I learned is that frogs have really smooth skin, and their skin is different from a toad. See, a frog's skin is moist and it's smooth, and they have to keep their skin smooth and moist by staying near the water. If they don't keep their skin smooth and moist, kind of like the picture here, frogs can die. The next thing I want to teach you is about a frog's teeth. Frogs have really small, tiny teeth on their upper jaws. And they only use these teeth when they're holding their prey. They don't use them to bite and chew like we do. So researchers, after you learn the information, you're going to be the teachers, and you're going to be sharing all of your new information with your classmates. So remember, when you teach well, it's really important that when you're reading to pay really close attention to the main ideas and the supporting details. And then so when it's time for you to teach, you can share them and explain them using gestures and pointing to some important features in the book. So I want you to give this a try. I'm going to put up another page from Frogs and Toads called Yummy Frog Food. I'm going to read it aloud, and then after we listen to it, I'm going to see if one of you can teach the class what you've learned. Okay, let me open up to that page. Get ready, get your palms and your fingers ready so you can be listening to those main ideas. And follow along as I read. Frogs and toads eat worms, snails, and insects, such as mosquitoes and dragonflies. They do not need to drink. They take in water through their skin. Many frogs and toads have long, sticky tongues for catching food. The tongue is attached at the front of the mouth. It stays rolled up until it is needed. When an insect buzzes by, the tongue quickly shoots out, catches the insect, and pulls it into the mouth. Frogs and toads have great aim. All right, friends, it's your turn. I want you to think about what main ideas did you hear and what details would be really, really important to share with someone else. Don't forget to use your hands, and you can think back and you can kind of act like you're pointing to some of the pictures because that's important too. All right, raise your virtual hand if you want to have a chance to share our class about yummy frog food. My goodness, friends, you are truly experts. It was amazing to kind of hear your explaining voice, to hear those key ideas, to hear those details, and to use gestures. That was just amazing. So readers, today you are going to be learning to become experts so that you can teach others about what you've learned. And as you read today, I want you to keep in mind that you aren't just reading for yourself, but you're reading also for your partners and your classmates in order to be teachers and share that information. So when you read knowing that you're going to be teaching the content soon, I want you to kind of really have your mind focused. And I really want you to be thinking about shifting from not just reading, but from reading and teaching. All right, friends. And so we're going to be thinking about something else that we can do when we're reading expository nonfiction text. So we're not just going to pause after we chunk the text to identify the main ideas by using pop-out sentences and boxes and bullets. We're not just going to look at the subheadings and chunk the text in order to find meaning. We're also going to be thinking about how we can read and look for those main ideas and look for those details in order to teach others about what you're learning. So, friends, as you open up those nonfiction books today, I want you to be reading really carefully so that at the end of class today, you can teach us about something that you've learned in your reading today. Off you go.